What's up, guys? Thank you, as always, for hitting this video. 3 quick things. Number 1, if you're not already subscribed, please do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. 2, if you would like to see early ad-free releases of our episodes on Patreon, you can join Ooze Control via the link in the description below. And number 3, if you'd like to check out previous episodes of the podcast, that playlist is also listed down below. Now relax, enjoy.
Well, so what do you do when you can't sleep?
What do you mean?
I stay awake.
Are you one of those people that I can't sleep, I guess I'm just gonna lay in bed for 5 hours, hopefully I'll fall asleep? Or are you like, you know what, I'm not gonna go to sleep in the next 5 hours, so I'm gonna get up and I guess I'm gonna do some stuff?
No, I don't do anything. I feel like that'll make me more tired the following day versus if I just lay there and do nothing. I think I'll half rest.
Yeah.
But my brain won't, at least. Yeah, I don't know. It's very boring. I wanted to take a moment to apologize to you, Scott. And I want to do this on air so everyone can hear this.
I'm ready for whatever apology that I don't know is coming. Give it to me.
I'm sorry for Perfect Blue. All right. You know what's really funny? So I'm at work. I'm working with Cameron, and he was one of the people who recommended the movie, as well as my other half brother Dallin. I was like, "Oh, hey, we just recorded Perfect Blue." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I gotta watch that." And I was like, "Wait, what? You told me to watch it." He's like, "No, I think I did, but I haven't seen it yet." I was like, "Dude, that's hilarious." And I think you owe an apology also sort of to Scott. Anyways, I thought that was funny.
I will say now, like a week later, everything I said still stands. I feel like it was incredible, and I just really, really never want to see it again, and I don't know that I'd ever recommend it, but I've thought about it a lot.
Yeah. Even after the third shower, you're like, it's still on me.
Yeah. That went so deep into the pores.
Yeah,
it did. No, I'll tell you though. I've recommended it to people. I always put the caveat right afterwards, hey, there's a simulated rape scene and so on and so forth. But I've actually recommended it a couple times now because I'm just like, it's deep in my pores as well. But it's weird to say I like the movie because it's so dark and so scary and just disgusting. But yeah, it's stuck with me.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Well, you can blame Cameron.
Yeah. Since we're talking about this, I actually want to submit a retraction.
Okay.
I want to look back at Red Dawn just for a minute.
I have something to add about Red Dawn as well. You go.
Okay.
Good.
So usually the way this works is we record the podcast just for the audience. We record the podcast. I get the files. Then I go through and cut up and make a couple shorts for our YouTube channel. And I'm listening to our podcast, us talking about it, and I'm making these clips, and I'm going through the movie and picking out the ones I want to hit. And I just kept coming across moments that I was like, oh, this is a great scene. And then it just kept going and going and going. And I was just like, there is so many good things about this movie. And I rewatched that scene with Patrick Swayze looking at the picture of himself as in Little League. So I was like, holy hell. That just ruined me. And so I was contemplating and I was like, you know what? Red Dawn has a lot of flaws, but when I think about all the highs and all the positives, it really does completely overshadow the negatives of the film to me. So I'm going to make a small retraction. I believe I gave it a 2 when we rated it on the podcast.
So now it's a 5.
I'm pushing it up to a 3.5. I think it's still got problems, but like I said, I feel like there's some movies, and I think Red Dawn is one of them, where the positives really overshadow the negatives, and there's movies where they don't. But I think Red Dawn qualifies at that. So I'm moving it up to a 3.5, and I think I'd watch it again.
That's really funny. Yeah. I rated it a 3. I also want to bring it up to a 3.5. And I've been thinking about it more and more too. And yes, like I still stand by like the only actor I really like, Harry Dean and Patrick Swayze. Everyone else is just kind of like whatever. But I think a lot of my rating was just like how anxious it made me feel, which is great. But that's not a detractor at all. And I knew that when I was rating it, but it's just grown on me. And then it's funny. I was just reading a comment on one of our shorts about Red Dawn, and one of your shorts was talking about how like they go to that store and all they take is like candy and like soda. And he was like, dude, this was the 80s. We didn't have bottled water back then. And I was like, dude, you're right. That's so funny. That's so funny that's like within the last 10 years. I totally
That
forgot
is
about
so funny. I love that. I approve of that comment. That's so good.
Another guy's like, he's like, I can tell you guys didn't love this movie and you're knocking on it, but you weren't there and you absolutely do not understand.
Oh my gosh.
Did you reply and say you weren't there either, since this is a fictional World War III?
Yeah. I was like, well, he has a point. I was not alive in 84, so yeah.
It's true.
I'm a poser.
So Red, I've been keeping track of your letterbox, and you've been watching a handful of new movies. I know one of them was Ghost Elephant or something, and I read your review, and it just made me cackle.
I've had some downtime, as we
just a
discussed
little
earlier.
bit.
It's a brand new documentary on, I think it's on, it's on Disney Plus, and I don't know if you guys have seen The Cove or Blackfish. But this is. Are you familiar? Do you have any idea of what those are?
So in terms of Blackfish, so my wife is a very big. She loves killer whales. Like Free Willy is like the most life-changing film to her. And I believe I can't remember. I think she sat down to watch Blackfish at one point. She was like, I feel like it's my responsibility to watch this. And I think she got like 30 minutes into it, and she was like, no, I'm dying. I'm crying. I can't do this.
I thought you were going to say, my wife loves SeaWorld. And I was like, next subject.
No. Honestly, whenever a friend's like, yeah, I think I'm going to head to SeaWorld, she's just like, I have to clamp my mouth shut now because I can't say anything positive now.
I've had those same. I'm just like, I'll just say nothing. It's all good. Yeah. Okay. So this is the equivalent of those films, but for elephants. And there's an amazing story kind of wrapped around it. But dude, I don't know if I can say it, dude. I don't know if I can get it out of me. Okay, so there's this footage it's from a movie from like the 70s, and this is before like trophy hunting became really frowned upon like it is today. But they're getting this movie footage of these elephants, and they're in these little like buggy looking helicopters, and they're just like poking and messing with this herd of elephants. And you see what they're seeing in the helicopter, and you see this elephant charging at you, and the way the anger that they're like trumpeting because they're trying to protect everyone else in their herd. And it shows this hunter just kind of standing there on like a little hill. The helicopter pushes this elephant to go another direction, and this guy sets up his rifle, boom, kills this elephant.
Oh my gosh, Ren!
And I have never. I'll try to impersonate what I said. Okay, I go, no, and I started ugly crying. And my wife was like, what? She's talking to my boys in the kitchen. They're like, is dad crying? And like, they all came over and like hugged me.
Oh my gosh. Ren.
Dude. It is straight murder on video. It is the saddest thing I've ever seen. And it's like, you can't believe your eyes when you're like, they're not going to show it. Like, this guy wouldn't actually shoot this elephant, and he does it, and it is so heartbreaking. It's incredibly horrible. So I think it's powerful. I think it's something you quote unquote should see, because I don't know, it just evokes just, I don't know, man. Like, just because it's an animal doesn't mean it's not horrible.
No.
I've never watched a movie that made me scream no and cry at the same time. It was nuts.
Yeah, it's tough. There's just those movies and documentaries and things like that where it's like, okay, you need to have a reality check and you need to see what's actually going on in this world. This is gonna hurt. This is not gonna be fun, but you gotta watch this because you gotta be aware of what's going on.
Oh my God. And that's one little part of it. It's not even part of the story, just this one little insert that Werner Herzog puts in there. And I was thinking about you, Scott, because we were having this conversation of how like video games and movies, they just like, they can tap into things that the other can't. It's like the true beauty of like each type of art form. And documentaries, dude, I have had my shit rocked by so many documentaries in my life. And like I walk out of it and I'm like 5 out of 5. I love it. And then you kind of like forget about it for the most part. Documentaries are their own animal. And I don't know if we should do a documentary month eventually, but
oh, that sounds really hard and interesting.
Yeah, it would be.
I could see that. I'd be down for something like that.
I mean, I remember the first time I read that the editor on Tenet, her previous work was documentaries, and I was like, huh, that's interesting. And it made me, for the first time, think of, like, every once in a while, you get those, like, oh, everyone talks about the director, everyone talks about the screenwriter, maybe second, or something like that, or the composer. But, you've got the film editors and the cinematographers and, all these other disciplines that, like, those people, the set designers and stuff, those people really put so much time and effort in creating what goes into the movie. And documentaries are really hard in that you have to somehow thread a really interesting narrative while also just being brutally honest. Like, you can't make up timelines and stuff because it's just like false. You're being wrong, but,
yeah.
So I've always wondered, like, what kind of talent, what kind of skill set you would need to edit or direct or write a screenplay for a documentary that you wouldn't for, some fantasy film or something like that, or total fiction. And I would absolutely love to deep dive into that world and like open my eyes to the respect of what those people do and what they have to go through to get the footage, to piece it together, all that kind of stuff to make it land right.
Speaking of Blackfish, me and Allie were talking about, this is probably the scene that Nicole, your wife, turned it off, but they just like volunteer themselves to just go up to Seattle, get in a boat and go kidnap a baby orca from its mom. Just like, no, they don't ask any authority. They just go do it. And that's like how SeaWorld started. It's insane.
If you enjoy watching our show on Spotify or YouTube and you want to be more involved, we encourage you to please come check out our Patreon community. Not only does our Patreon community get every episode you see on YouTube early, fully uncut, uncensored, and ad-free, but we're also doing Patreon exclusive episodes, as well as Q&As, video clips, and access to our entire film catalog. It's a lot of fun and a nice way to say thanks for the cost of a cup of coffee every month. Now, back to the show.
You guys watch anything awesome lately?
Let's see. My son watched Frankenweenie, the animated version of it. And I didn't realize, at least as far as I'm remembering, Tim Burton actually made a live action one a while ago. And then he made this new one. And everyone's like, oh, sweet. He came back and like remade his own movie to what he actually wanted it to be like. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I've seen like the first half of the original one. And I was like, this is very Tim Burton. That's about Yeah.
I like it.
I finally got Hawkins to watch Star Wars. So we watched A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi.
Nice.
And I have not watched those movies in so long.
They're so good.
They're just genuinely good.
Yeah.
And I've been so down on Star Wars for so many years since Disney bought it that it was really, really nice to just feel that childhood love of freaking laser swords and Darth Vader and the good versus evil and stuff. I was like, this is such a good story and it's so well told.
Yeah.
And I just loved it. And he loved it. And now he's like can we watch Rogue One? Can we, I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
Do it, man. No, dude,
I've been jonesing
they're
for
worth
some
it.
Star Wars. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'd be down to watch those. No, honestly, like A New Hope is actually easily in my top like 20 movies of all time. I love that one.
Empire Strikes Back is like top 10.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Empire Strikes Back is definitely probably the best Star Wars film out there, but well, it's debatable. But my truly only beef with the original 3 is in Return of the Jedi. I feel like Leia just like lost her badassery. Like, I feel like she just turns into this like background character throughout that third film, and I was like, what happened? You were so cool in the first 2, and it was just a little disappointing. But
she
other
definitely was written as the emotional core of the team, as opposed to the fight back against Han core of the team.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because both characters as written are good, but I know what you mean. There's a loss in her degradation of her spiciness. It's missed.
Dude, okay, I'm gonna go turn on Spaceballs sometime soon too, because I've been jonesing to watch that for so long, and I keep telling myself, and I'm like, Harrison, you're gonna love it. Just turn the damn movie on.
So when we do a Star Wars deep dive, since there's only 3 movies worth watching, maybe we'll just put Spaceballs in there as the 4th.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna say this though. Okay, the one other movie outside of the original 3 that I'm like, no, I think that's worth it is Rogue One. I think that one.
Rogue One is pretty good.
Yeah, no, honestly, the thing was funny was the first time I watched it, I was like, what the hell was that? Like, none of these characters are interesting. This is just dull. Like, I just wasn't impressed. And then I watched it a second time, and I was like, ooh, there's something here. Then I watched it the third time, and I fell in love. And then after the 4th time, I was like, this is a really damn good movie.
It's interesting about that one is it was the first time that a Star Wars movie was like, hey, can we break out of this like pure Skywalker, family line kind of movie thing. And the main character's character was rewritten like 3 or 4 times through the process of filming. And so you can see like the beginning of the movie, she like acts a whole lot like more cold and stuff like that. And then she opens up more and stuff. And they're all just like rewrites. And weirdly, I kind of feel like it works. Because like you said, it's almost like the characters matter, but do they? It's like they're there to kind of like push the plot forward, but each one is unique. And so I don't know, it's a really weird blend of like, if you like Star Wars, this is a really good one to just like feel Star Wars things without it being this like super deep, hard, heavy movie.
All right, man, we can keep going on this, but couple things though. The one thing I liked about it was, as opposed to like Solo, I feel like Rogue One didn't have like moments of like, oh, that's where Han Solo got his name from, and like that's where he got the dice that hangs in the Millennium Falcon. There was none of this weird like we have to explain all these weird things. But I just distinctly remember the first time I watched it, not the main female character, but the main male character. I can't remember his name. But,
the pilot dude.
Yeah, the pilot guy. I remember I got to like the last like 25% of the film, and he like came around a corner, and I was like, this guy's still around? Oh, he's a main character. Oh, okay. If I knew that, I would have paid attention to him more.
Yeah. I just really like the Asian dude that was trying to like muscle his way in brute force into using the Force, and I was like, this is such a cool story.
He was cool. Yeah, I like the
blind guy.
Too.
Yeah, I've only seen the movie once. I saw it in theaters, and I haven't watched it since. So I'd be totally down for watching that one again.
Sorry, I got lost in the nerdiness. Which Star Wars are you talking about right now?
We're talking about
Star
Rogue
Wars
One.
17.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Before we stop saying Star Wars things, which will happen right after this sentence, I was in the car talking about Darth Vader and explaining that Darth Vader was Luke's father, and Hawkins was like, yeah, I know, but like what? How? And then Paige was like, oh, because Darth Vader doesn't sound anything like Dark Father. And I was like, what? What? And I was like, how in the world have I gone 37 years of my life and never made the connection that Darth Vader is like Dark Father? Like, duh.
That's awesome. My first movie, any sort of memory that I have ever, is watching Empire Strikes Back at Stacy and Lene's house on VHS.
Yeah.
And I remember just kind of the same thing, like what Hawkins is going through. Be like, wait, what? Like, so he doesn't know he's his father? Like that whole concept
What do you
was
mean?
so. And then he cuts off his hand. I was like, this is violent.
I don't. Can we put on Perfect Blue or something? This is too much for me.
What is this?
Way
This is
too much.
ridiculous.
Speaking of ridiculous, boom, roll the credits.
Yes.
There we go. That's as good of a transition as we can come up with, so let's do it. In the San Fernando Valley, a sprawling web of seemingly unrelated lives, ranging from a dying media mogul and his trophy wife to a former child prodigy and a charismatic cult-leading pickup artist, collides over the course of one intense rainy day. Each character grapples with the weight of past traumas, buried secrets, and the desperate search for forgiveness as their stories weave toward an explosive, surreal climax. Guided by the hand of chance and the patterns of coincidence, the narrative explores the profound connectivity of human suffering and the possibility of redemption. This operatic masterpiece challenges the boundaries of traditional storytelling, proving that while we may be through with the past is not through with us. This is Paul Thomas Anderson's 1999 film, Magnolia. This is from my list. Do you guys want me to start, or can I transition to you guys to say something?
Can I start? I want to start.
Scott, go.
Go ahead. I'll go ahead.
Okay. So my summary of this movie is this was a really high production movie with really big name actors. A lot of things happened. There were a lot of emotions in it. And there were frogs. And I think that's all I really can say.
Okay, so I'm going to be honest with you. I was sitting there, I watched the movie, and I was like, God, I hope Scott really likes this movie, because I think he's the only one who might have something important to say. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so I was hoping that you guys would like go do a bunch of research, because I explicitly was like, someone has to have the fresh take and go, what? And be honest about it. So
okay.
Well, that's my role then. I'm ready.
I'm not gonna rag on it, but I'm gonna be honest about it too.
Oh,
Definitely.
I will.
Absolutely.
Okay, so here, I'm going to take over here because after I finished this movie, I was sitting there and I was thinking like, okay, the guys are going to ask me what was my first impression of this film, and I was trying to come up with like a good thing to say, and I wrote down 4 responses to this, and I'm going to read all 4 of them. Okay, Magnolia is the longest music video I've ever watched.
Okay.
After I watched this film, I decided to turn on something that is at least more entertaining. So I watched Paris, Texas after this. This movie is My Quantum Cowboys. and I'm not gonna take credit for this because I read this review and I just died. Magnolia is filming yourself masturbating and then assuming everyone else really wants to see it. And that's how I feel about this movie. I'm telling you. Okay, I'm going to start this out right now because I want to ask this. So, Paul Thomas Anderson is a big deal, right? Like, he's a big deal director. Like, he has, like, There Will Be Blood. He did one battle after another, right? Like, didn't he just put out that movie?
I want to know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
No, it's just, I watched Magnolia and I was just like, okay. And then I looked at the director and I was like, wait a minute. He's in all these badass movies. And like, I haven't seen one battle after another, but it's up for an Oscar. It's probably going to win something. Like, I don't know. Like, I was just like, how is this like? And then I looked at the ratings online and Magnolia's got like an 8.0 on IMDb. It's got a 4.3 on Letterboxd. And I'm just like, okay, am I just like an idiot? And then I'm reading through reviews, tried to figure out what people think about this film. And I found it really funny because there's a lot of people talking about PTA, and it's so funny. There's a large group of people who are like, yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson made this movie. It's probably his worst film, though. And then you have this other group that goes, yeah, this is probably Paul Thomas Anderson's messiest, most disorganized. There's really rough things about it, but I think it's his best film ever made. Just like, whatever, guys. Okay, I'll go watch my Marvel movies and be entertained. But either way, it was just interesting being online and just seeing all these different discourses about this film, which, I mean, it's a movie that brings up discussion, so that's a positive, I guess. The other thing I want to add is when I was doing research online, I came across the like connection map. That's like, oh, these are how all these people are connected. And I was looking at this and I was like, I should be nerding out so hard to this because I love stuff like this. And I looked at it and I was like, I just don't even care. I just don't.
I completely agree with everything that both of you are saying. And I also agree with all the love for this movie. And I'll start from the beginning because I was curious how you guys would like this or think about this movie because I don't want to milk it, but I've been really sick. So I watched the movie and I didn't realize till like a few days afterwards, but I think I was like going in and out of consciousness as I was watching this. I was
Oh, that's not good for this movie.
Yeah. So this is one of the weirdest movie viewings of my life. It was weird. Like I couldn't tell if it was like going to be a comedy. I didn't know like if like John C. Reilly's character was like a creepy cop. I couldn't tell what was going on. I was like going in and out of consciousness, like I said. So I finished the movie and I'm like, that's like a 2, like a maybe 2.5 star rating. Like I hated that. I don't get it. The first hour, I was like, I don't even understand any of this, anything that's happening. It all seemed random until like the last like half hour. So same as you, I go online, I see these incredible reviews, and I'm like, okay, I gotta rewatch it. I have a Cinema Slime podcast. We have to talk about this movie. So I rewatch it, but I only watched the last hour. I soon found myself emotional, extremely impressed, and once I don't know, it just was completely different the second time. And then I rewatched it from the beginning. Completely forgot about anything about those weird coincidences, those little storylines with Patton Oswalt being the card dealer and like that whole thing, and then the mom accidentally shooting her son while he's committing suicide out the window. And I'm just like trying to make sense of all this, but I know that it's quality. Like it's extremely well done. It's just like rambling. 190 F words are in this movie. There's just like Julianne Moore made me almost laugh like multiple times. She overacts so hard in this movie.
Is she supposed to be like tripping out on drugs the whole time? Like what was her character doing?
She's withdrawing or something. She's got some issues. And then I'm watching, it's funny, like I'm sitting in bed dying, and then I'm seeing this old man in the bed dying, and I'm like, dude, I feel you. I get it. I'm like, you're right. Life isn't too short. It's too long. Like, this is crazy. And, but yeah, that scene, I don't even know where, now I'm rambling.
It's fitting. But it's actually pretty coherent in comparison.
Yeah, exactly. I found a whole new appreciation for it. And I see what people see. Like this is a masterpiece, but it's a very flawed masterpiece. And reading more about PTA, and I'll go in. I've been watching a ton of his movies lately. I'm a humongous fan of basically everything. Like I don't love this movie, but this is a great movie at the same time. Yeah, I can see it. Well, let me just say this, because this really put into context, because my favorite movie of his was Boogie Nights. It was very formative for me in high school. So based off all the success on that movie, they gave him full reign to do Magnolia. And they were just like, whatever you want, you do it. You have your actors. We would like it to be 2 hours, maybe 2.5. but you know, like they were not going to force you to do, you know, work your craft to do it. And PTA has since kind of like hinted at like, yeah, you know, I did have maybe a little too much freedom, and he probably would cut it maybe 20, 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more. This is just something I was thinking of. I appreciate this movie because of what he learned in this, which led to Punch Drunk Love, which led to There Will Be Blood. and now One Battle After Another, which I think personally that is his best movie. I foresee that or Sinners winning the Oscar for Best Picture this year, or in like a couple days. So I see it as this grand story for PTA, but when we isolate the movie as it is, I 100% understand what you guys are talking about. So that was a long-winded way of being like, yep.
I think the hardest part for me in this film was I was watching it and I'm like, okay, I'm grasping these stories and I understand what everyone's coming from, but I just don't really care about you in terms of characters. Like there's no one for me to latch onto and be like, I wonder where you're going to go. And the hardest part for me was I'm watching it and I'm like, these people are acting their asses off. They're doing an incredible job. Like there was one moment, I think it was mainly with Julianne Moore, where I was like, okay, this is just yelling to cover up acting. Like that's kind of how it felt for a little while. But like Tom Cruise especially, I'm watching him like this guy is in the zone. He is cooking so hard. And it's just so weird to see such high quality acting, and the storyline and everything that's happening in the film is just a dull dud to me. So it's like this weird, like up and down thing, this contrast that just was pulling me apart throughout the whole movie.
I kind of feel like that is the real Tom Cruise.
Yes.
Maybe not his like obsession with, like trying to bang everybody or what, I don't know. But like the way that he acted and he was just like jumping around and just like, I don't know, just on Adderall the whole time. I was like, I don't know. This kind of seems like Tom Cruise I've seen in interviews.
Yeah, no, that what was I was thinking about his character in Tropic Thunder, and I was like, this is like a whole other side of Tom Cruise that I'm not used to. Same with in Tropic Thunder. Like when I watched that, it took me half the movie to realize it was him. And I was just like, what? I didn't even recognize you. This is nuts.
Okay, I want to say though that I really miss Philip Seymour Hoffman a lot.
Yes.
And this movie, he got me. Like the way he played his character and the way that he was like a really genuinely empathetic human being that was trying to do his job well and do right by everybody, and how like he wanted to do things, but he like was passive about it, but then he pushed where he needed to. And stuff, and his reactions when he would like turn around and like cry and stuff. I was like, holy crap. This is a real human dealing with this real situation. He did such a good job, and it truly made me miss him as a human being. Way too short of a life there.
Yeah, no, yeah. I agree. No, actually, his moment when I think it's the replacement nurse that's coming in to take his spot, and he opens the door and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna stick it out," and the guy's like, "You sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, I am." And he closes the door, and I was like, "All right, you got me. My heart is pulled." Like
some interesting little tidbits about Philip Seymour Hoffman, but also with Tom Cruise. I don't want to skip too far ahead, but let's just do it right now. So the scene where Frank T.J. Mackey, he comes to visit his dying father.
Hey, everybody, just popping in real quick. If you could hit that like and subscribe button, that would really help us out a lot. But either way, let's get back to the show.
PTA kind of took Tom Cruise like behind the scenes, and he was just like, hey, when you're doing this scene, I want you to channel and think about when you lost your own father. And Tom Cruise, his performance when he's just breaking down and crying, and there's all like his ego is just being like pulled apart because he wants to kill this guy, but it's also his dad and he was abandoned by him. It's so complicated. And he does such a killer job in that scene that it actually, if you look in the background, Philip Seymour Hoffman starts crying. That wasn't scripted. He made Philip Seymour Hoffman break down in tears because he was just blowing his mind. And I thought that was really cool. Just to be on the set and to be there witnessing that, it must have just been...
Okay, so I feel like this could be the pattern of this entire episode. Every scene, nearly every scene, we could pick apart each scene individually and be like, that was incredible. Mm-hmm. And at the same time be like, I still don't know why this movie got made.
Okay, so why do you think... So obviously we all find a lot of flaws in this film. Do you think it's just because there's so many storylines and it jumps between them too fast? Because that's kind of how I felt. I was like, I feel like I'm in one world and then I get kicked out and I have to go to this next guy. And I wasn't in the previous one long enough for me to actually get an attachment to this person.
So I think it's a little bit of that, and I think it's a little bit that the stories are not really similar. Like basically the only thing that threads through them emotionally is that each one feels grief in some way. And that's expressed through like the older Wonder Kid guy, him like just going out and doing dumb things, or the little kid like finally growing a backbone and saying, "Dad, you need to not be mean to me anymore." And
oh man,
or the gal who was just snorting cocaine the whole time in her apartment, and her just going like, "Yeah, my dad molested me and he's dying," and stuff like that. Like all of these things are like, there's so much grief going on. And so they manifest it in all these different ways. That to me seems to be the only coherent thread through every single story. Every other one was like this plot device, which I guess can be used like a sledgehammer if you want. This movie is a proof of that. But like, if you're going to make a whole movie that's like, yeah, there's a bunch of coincidences that happen, then I guess this is what you get. Like, you just have random people that in any other coherent story, you'd be like, yeah, that's convenient. But in this movie, the whole point is that it's convenient. And so what are you trying to say about coincidence and convenience? Is that like, hey, I noticed this random thing. This one person has gotten struck by lightning 5 times in their life, and I've never been struck by lightning. What a coincidence. Let's write a story about that. So I don't know what is up with the script. Mostly, it's like, why is this all here together?
From what I've gathered, it's basically PTA. He's admitted he's just like, I have the opposite of writer's block, where I can't not write. So I just write everything. And he takes little things from his past, little things from his own personal stories. He infuses it. And he kind of like, for this movie in particular, he kind of just like didn't think about it too much because they gave him full reign to make this movie. And it culminates in this strange film. Yeah. I was just going to say, a lot of gold comes out of it because from all these performances. And maybe we should just go through each cast member, maybe say something about their performance or something. But go ahead, Harrison.
I would say the biggest flawed character in this movie that just really felt so out of place is the cop. That's John C. Reilly's character. That was the one storyline I was like, what the hell is this? Like every time he came on screen, I was like, I don't care about you and I don't know what you're doing. Like you went in to search this lady's house and then you asked her out on a date. And it's like, yes, that girl is related to the game show host guy, but I don't care about you.
I will say I had the exact opposite feeling of him. I was like, he's hilarious in comparison to everyone else. It was like, if I needed a breather, then John C. Reilly, just go be really tame John C. Reilly for me for a second. And
that's funny.
I was like, his character's absurdity in the rest of the movie was basically like, this whole movie is basically this, except the other ones are pretending to not be weird, and his is obviously weird. To me, it was like he fit right in, but at least he was pleasant to watch.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Julianne Moore just screaming the F word 20 times in 3 minutes.
Yeah. My first viewing, I was like, like you, Harrison, like I was like, I hate this. The second viewing, I think he's my favorite character. Mm-hmm. So it's been really evolving with each time I keep revisiting. It's really weird. But what I was going to say is I think each storyline presents us with these unique and then sometimes overlapping themes. Like, okay, John C. Reilly's character, he's devout Christian. He's learned from his mistakes. He's divorced. He's always trying to do his best. He talks to himself in his car. He pumps himself up. He's motivated. He's very innocent as well. And then he meets this cocaine addicted chick, and he doesn't have the awareness to understand that she's coked up all the time. But they're two people who are trying to find someone who can love them, and they have love. They just don't know what to do with it. So there's that storyline. And then
that's actually really pretty awesome. That was a good summary.
Thanks. But then there's these other ones like, okay, who should we, okay, I'll just say this. This one storyline that I don't find anything redeeming in. I think, like, if they edit it out, the movie would probably be better. But that's William H. Macy's character, his plot line, his story. I don't get that. I don't think it's that cool or interesting at all.
But that's the guy who was the game show host winner, like when he was a kid.
Yeah,
Is that
with the glasses, and he needs the oral surgery.
Yeah, well, he wants the oral surgery because he wants to date the bartender who also has braces. Like, yeah. I don't know. And then, okay, yeah, so that happens. Then he goes and steals the money from his previous job, and then he decides to go back and return it, and that's when the frog hits him in the head.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like every storyline we're going to talk about, I'm just be like, yeah, I hated that one. Oh yeah, I hated that one too. but anyways, we'll keep going.
I will say the redeeming thing about that character's arc is that it made the juxtaposition between the current genius kid and the old genius kid who was also exploited by his parents. The juxtaposition of seeing the before and after at the exact same time was interesting. Like, what are the effects that this is going to have on this little kid now or in the future? Okay,
so maybe this is going to, I don't know, maybe it's going to out me that in terms of my first viewing and how much I paid attention. I was watching and I was like, okay, is there like a time jump in this film? Is he the kid who...
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I was like, okay, so are we jumping into the past to see his storyline as the kid who's actually on the show right now? And eventually I figured out, it's like, okay, that's not what's happening right now.
Oh,
but
no,
I felt
Harrison,
like there was something there.
This is in fact a time travel movie.
But I wish it was, because then there'd be something interesting to talk about. But anyways, that was my first viewing. On my second viewing, I understood that in the second viewing, and that made things a lot more clear.
So that made me think of Tom Cruise's character, because you come to realize through the interview that he was abandoned by his dad, who today is now dying on the bed. Then you find out that his sister is Julianne Moore. They've been taking care of the dad, but they're still estranged. You just sort of finally kind of piece it all together and how it all connects. And as like kooky and like chaotic and insane as you feel as you watch this movie, I sort of felt like hopeful in the end. And then the frog scene happens, and it's just like the craziest, like most violent splatter of frog bodies I've ever witnessed or thought of in my life.
Are we going to talk about the frogs now? Because
okay,
let's do it.
I have something to say about the frogs too.
Okay, Harrison, start us off with the frogs.
Okay, no, the main thing about the frogs with me, and the thing that I actually really, really don't like about this movie, is the way they foreshadowed the frogs at the end. So throughout the film, you actually see the number 82 throughout the film. And you actually see Exodus 8:2, which is the verse in the Bible that talks about the frogs. And it happens all the time. Like right before that guy jumps off the building and gets shot by his mom, there's a rope in the shape of 82. When you go up to the plane that's going to scoop the water out of the lake, the plane is numbered 82. There's a marquee on the street and it says Exodus 82. And I caught all those, and I was like, okay. So I read the verse, and then the frogs fall, and I was like, did you really have to hammer over and over and over and over again that this was going to happen? Like it felt really ridiculous to me.
But it did happen.
I know, no, but it did happen. But the thing is, you don't have to foreshadow it 15 times before it happens. You need to do it like once, maybe twice if you want to feel clever. But when it happens so often, it's just like I get it. You don't need to tell me that over and over again. Like you basically told me the ending of the movie.
But you didn't know what Exodus 8:2 was while you were watching it. You had to look it up after. So it's subliminal.
I know, but still, it's just, I don't know. I found it, like, I hate using the word pretentious but I found it very pretentious.
Yeah. My thoughts on the frog is, if it served a purpose, it could be cool. But I don't think it served a purpose other than to be some random MacGuffin, some Deus Ex Machina that just made
MacGuffin.
the closing happen different. It was like, well, we don't know how to wrap this story up anyway. Dun, 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 dun. Let's throw frogs at them, and so then if that, it does make it weird that there was like, it's obviously so foreshadowed and so planned, like this coincidence matters, but does it? Did it do anything other than exist? And I mean, that's really my whole thesis on the whole movie is basically like, sure, lots of really highs, really lows, great acting, incredible production value, interesting stories individually, but did any of it matter for anything? Like as a cohesive whole, it really does feel like, let's write 7 different short stories and tell them simultaneously, which I will say, like juggling 7 different stories like it's, Valentine's Day or what's that other one?
Love Actually
or something like that. The massive ensemble cast movies, like that is a logistical storytelling nightmare that is impressive. But Love Actually had a plot, and so did Valentine's Day. And this one is like, let's just take every movie I like, chop out the scenes I like, and then edit it into a fan edit of everything together. And, there's no coherent ending for this. So let's just shower them with frogs and scatter in a bunch of subliminal messaging about the Exodus story with Moses and plagues. Like, okay, so that movie exists. And that's how I feel about this movie. That movie exists, and I watched it, and now I'm talking about it. The end?
Yeah. All right, Ren, I want to hear your take on the frogs, because I think we've ranted and raved enough, and I'm sure you got something really intelligent to say.
Yeah, they made 7,900 fake frogs for the film. That's it.
There we go.
That's all.
What I needed. That's all I needed to hear.
When I first saw the frogs, I was like, I don't like that. Like that was like I was like, I don't like this. I don't like, it doesn't need to be realistic, but just a little anecdote. But apparently this has actually happened in like the 1900s. There's a story of frogs actually raining from the sky. Probably not the way it's depicted in this movie, but this has happened before. I thought that was insane. So it's not just some biblical story. It does happen from time to time. But yeah,
it has happened at least twice in recorded history.
At least twice, yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, as far as like a part of this movie, don't love it. Don't really know if I get it really. It just seems like it's if it's so coincidental. But yeah, I'm with you guys. I feel like I need to give this more time and effort, or like another viewing in like with some time to like digest what I've seen, because I already like it more than the first time, but I feel like the glow might just kind of fade, and I might fall in line to more of like where you're at, Scott. Be like, yeah, it exists. Yep, it does. Yes, I watched it. It is a movie.
So I thoroughly agree with you, Ren. I think rewatching this film and maybe giving it some time would lead to it being a better film to me. I just have zero interest in. I don't think the end result of what I'll get out of this movie by rewatching it in 5 years is going to be worth it.
When we open a theater, I think that this should be one of our staples.
There we go.
People would show up. That's for damn sure.
There you go. Yeah, it's like, at least you guys like it.
Like, almost ironically, it's like, I mean, it's good. Also, we're going to keep playing it because I hate it. like we should just do like 6 months that's like our least favorite movies, and then just like pack the theater. We'll just play Prometheus and Quantum Cowboys and Magnolia and Detroit
Safety Not
Rock
Guaranteed.
City, Safety Not Guaranteed.
Hey, you leave Detroit Rock City out of this.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Both your fighting words are coming up.
So this is why I don't like this movie. I've talked about this plenty of times in our previous episodes, where lots of times there's a twist at the end of the movie. You find out something, and there's that snap moment, and then there's this ripple effect throughout the past film. You think back to everything that just happened, and it changes your perspective on everything. This movie, anytime you learn like, oh, that's his son. I now know that Tom Cruise and this guy who's dying in his bed, they're related. That didn't change anything in the movie to me. Like when you find out Tom Cruise and this gal, they're brother and sister, you're like, okay, that's a fun fact about this. And it felt more like, so I will say, I love the sequence at the beginning, like all those 3 stories talking about coincidences and how random life is and all this stuff. And I feel like that opening sequence just really messed with how I view this movie, because I was expecting to have these moments where I go, oh my gosh, like that's crazy. This dude is the same guy as that, that did X, Y, and Z. And it makes those connections and it's constantly happening. A movie that actually I felt, and I'm ready for hate for this, but the movie that I felt actually did that very well is a movie called Bullet Train. It's got Brad Pitt in it. And that movie, when you're watching it, you're making all of these connections of all these things that are happening. And you realize like, oh, this guy is that guy. And this person did this. And it's entertaining. And when those connections happen, it's like watching a movie where there's like 30 snap moments that ripple back throughout the film. And I feel like this movie was setting up this movie to have that moment where you realize everything's connected. And when it happened, it was just like a wet fart coming out at the end. You're just like,
no, it was a
okay.
wet frog coming out at the end.
Oh, there we go. You got me there. But yeah, that's my main problem with this film. It just doesn't stick the landing. It's supposed to stick the landing like 20 times in the film when every connection is made, and it fell flat every single time.
Oh man, we're gonna make all the Magnolia people so mad.
I know, and we're gonna get canceled.
You know what though? I think everyone who loves this movie understands the downsides of it too.
Yeah. I mean, I keep telling you how much I love Tenet and then telling you how much it's a bad movie. So I get it.
We already talked about Star Wars. Like, there are people who
Straight up.
they
Straight up.
I will say though, so that opening sequence, actually, I wanted to mention this before, but it did make me just kind of think about like, yeah, the world is kind of crazy and kind of random. And I this is a thought I have every now and then, just due to our work, we're driving all over the place all the time. And often I get on the highway and I'm like, I wonder if I'm driving next to a car that I've driven next to 100 times without even realizing it. And then I was also thinking about, I was driving and I got to a stop sign, and another car across from me got to the stop sign at the exact same time as me. And I thought, whoa, if you really think about it, that's crazy that me and that car landed in this exact same spot at the exact same time. And I was sitting there and I was like, okay, why am I not freaking out about that? That should be really crazy. And it's like, oh, it's because I don't know who's in that car. I don't know who they are. But for example, let's say I get to a stop sign and look up and Scott, you're in the car across from me. I would be freaking out because it's like, what are the chances that happened? And so it's just kind of funny to think about. It's like, oh yeah, like every day things are occurring that are astronomically insane that they've happened, but it's just the way life is, I guess. And you just kind of glance over it because it's like, yeah, it's crazy that me and this one person landed in the same spot at the same time. What does that actually change? And what does that mean in my life? I guess nothing.
I saw Ren in his car once.
There you go.
Did you really?
I did.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He was
like
spying on you.
I waved and you didn't see me. It was pretty cool.
Maybe we were singing the same song on the radio at the exact same time.
No, not on the radio. Even better, you were playing it on Apple Music, and I was playing it on YouTube Music, and we were listening to the same song.
Hey, it could happen.
You never know.
And frogs could fall out of the sky too. It's happened. It has happened.
At least
and
twice.
it even tried to prove it very, 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 very obviously by zooming in on the picture and saying, but it did happen.
With an 82% chance of rain.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The most 1999 thing about this movie, as Officer Curring, he like turns around or he's parked or something and it says free beepers. I thought that was pretty awesome. I was like, oh man.
Free beepers.
Free beepers.
Yeah.
I saw gas prices. It was $1.45 per gallon.
The good days.
Oh, I almost mentioned the gas prices in Red Dawn, but I forgot. I forgot what it was, but it was low.
With like 20 cents a gallon or something.
It was ridiculous. I was like, $2? That's not too far from what it is. No.
I just wanted to talk about how insane it is that Tom Cruise was nominated for Best Actor in this movie, and he lost. And I want to know if you guys know who he lost to.
No idea. Let's see. What else came in 1999? The Matrix, was that 1999?
Yep. Eyes Wide Shut, which is also Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is kind of a really interesting transition point in film history. It's like it went from not super high quality production to insanely high production, and there were a lot of new like CGI effects thrown into movies and stuff. This is just barely before Lord of the Rings stuff. So I mean, this is a cool time period in cinematic history technologically. So I genuinely don't know, I guess is what I'm saying.
Michael Caine won for The Shida House Rouge. And I have not seen that movie, but I've heard it's complete garbage. And I just love Tom Cruise's performance in this. One of a kind, the seduce and destroy, that piece of garbage, aggro male piece of crap character. It's just so funny to me. Like,
his
also very 1999. Yeah, dude. Yeah, he's got a lot of things going on.
I have not seen many humans that sculpted as Tom Cruise's body. I was like, that man is not messing around.
Yeah. At all.
By the way, when that commercial comes on for his like man sessions or whatever, I was like, I'm about 90% sure PTA just found this in Tom Cruise's basement at one point, and it was like, I could make a movie about this.
I have a note about this. This is really funny. Okay, so PTA, he actually got called up by Tom Cruise after he saw Boogie Nights. He's like, hey, let me know if there's any projects you have in the future, consider me. And he's like, I just got a call from Tom Cruise. Like, and he kind of wrote this part for him. So he agrees to do the film. PTA has this whole idea of what he wants for TJ Mackey, this character. So he goes to Tom Cruise's house to do like a costume fitting. He shows up and Tom Cruise is like, no, I don't like this. I don't like, my character wouldn't wear that. Here, just sit down. So he has PTA sit down in Tom Cruise's movie theater. And Tom Cruise gets up and performs the first scene in this movie to introduce his character. And he just like blew PTA's mind. And like, Tom Cruise was probably so enthusiastic about it that he probably didn't like give him any direction. He's probably just like, okay, like it's Tom Cruise being enthusiastic about this character, and he rewrote the whole monologue, changed his outfit, did everything. So that's all Tom Cruise.
So it is real Tom Cruise.
Exactly. I thought that was so funny. He nails it. We should probably jump into our slimy scenes and ratings because we got a drawing to do.
I'm gonna steal it right now.
Okay.
My slimy scene is Tom Cruise saying "worship the cock." Like that's definitely one that is sticking in my head. Just Tom Cruise in general throughout this film. It's probably the only thing I'm gonna remember from this film. This movie is like a half a star for me. I didn't enjoy it even after 2 watches. I'm not interested in rewatching it. I won't recommend it. And I don't know, like I already said it, but like I know people tell me like, "Oh yeah, you need to watch it again like later in life." And I'm like, "I don't care." Like I'll go watch something I actually enjoy instead of this again. So, yeah, no. This is like, to me, this is the worst movie we've watched for the show. And I'm glad we watched it and talked about it. Don't get me wrong. But I think this is the worst movie that we've watched so far.
There's another theme in this movie that obviously hasn't jumped out at all 3 of us because luckily we haven't had to deal with it. But a lot of the things that I read online is that once you've lost a parent, this movie is completely different.
I can understand that.
And this movie, yeah, it's about relationships with your parents, parents to your kids, grief, loss. Shout out to all the people who are impacted by this movie because of that one little thing. But yeah, just wanted to mention that. We didn't talk about that.
Man, now I'm definitely the jerk of this episode.
I'm gonna say this movie probably wasn't made for me, just like Detroit Rock City and Quantum Cowboys wasn't made for me. Like there's nothing about this movie that was impactful or meaningful in Scott's life. I was never molested. I haven't lost a parent. I was never on a game show and, exploited by my parents. I wasn't, I don't have like this horrible childhood that I grew up from or bended by my parents. My mom hasn't died from cancer. Like, I've never done drugs. Like, I have nothing to relate to in this movie.
That's so
at all. And so I will say that this was like, okay, I know that there's a lot of people that deal with a lot of horrible things in their life, and this is probably, love letter's probably not the right word, but that was the first phrase that came. Somebody talked about the thing that mattered to them, and I'm glad that this movie exists for those people. And like I said, it's high quality on a scene by scene basis. My slimiest scene is probably the nurse Phil, like, choosing to give the morphine to the old guy, knowing that that's the last he's going to see him. He's snuffing out the guy's life and just sobbing going through that, because that's his job to do it after he's already like empathetically connected with this old guy, and he's just been BSing with him for several days or whatever, is essentially his hospice care without officially being hospice care. So that's my slimiest scene. The rating, I think I didn't hate it as much as Quantum Cowboys. I didn't hate it as much as Detroit Rock City, but it's kind of in that area. So I think I'm going to give it a 2, maybe a 1.5, maybe a 2, somewhere in there.
If you enjoy watching our show on Spotify or YouTube and you want to be more involved, we encourage you to please come check out our Patreon community. Not only does our Patreon community get every episode you see on YouTube early, fully uncut, uncensored, and ad-free, but we're also doing Patreon-exclusive episodes, as well as Q&As, video clips, and access to our entire film catalog. It's a lot of fun and a nice way to say thanks for the cost of a cup of coffee every month. Now, back to the show.
I'm just going to do just a quick insert based just on some comments you said. So, you're talking about like, oh, I haven't gone through any of these experiences. And it's true. Like, if you go through an experience and you watch a film about that experience, it's going to hit you harder. But I feel like there's just so many other movies where it's like, okay, I've never gone through this. What's going on in this movie, but it's emotionally hitting me so hard. Like, I mean, just to take it back to a recent film, Perfect Blue, like, I've never been in a girl band and I've never had something insane like that happen to me. But as I watched that film, it emotionally hit me really hard. So it's one of those things that's like, I feel like that's one of the purposes of a movie, is to put you, the audience member, like, have an audience member experience what it's like to go through something without actually going through it, and to emotionally impact you, not as hard, but close to it. And yeah, Magnolia just didn't check that box for me.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's basically how I felt after watching Cinema Paradiso. Just how
yeah,
I was like, I've never lived in Italy. I didn't lose my dad in a war. I didn't have a surrogate father. I didn't run a movie theater. I didn't have a lost love, anything. But like, I felt nostalgic and ache as if it was real for me. So
exactly.
Yeah, good point. I don't take back what I said, but I also thank you for saying it.
Cinema Paradiso is such a freaking beautiful movie, dude.
You know what?
Oh my
you know
God.
what? Honestly, like, I think I gave it a high rating when we watched it, and that's a movie that the farther I get away from it, the more I miss it, and the more I love it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Same. Same. Oh, did I tell you? So my brother, he served his mission in Italy, and he's gone back to Italy multiple times. He still speaks Italian. He's like 50 years old, so he really loves the Italian people and the language and stuff like that. He told me there's 2 movies in Italian you need to watch, and one of is Cinema Paradiso, and the other one is Life is Beautiful. And I've seen both, so I feel like, yeah, I'm doing okay.
I was telling my tax lady about that movie last week. And I started getting emotional.
And she's like, okay, just hand me your 1099, please.
She's like, okay, anyways. Yeah. I thought this was hilarious, but when Tom Cruise's character is telling everyone to get out their calendars on the projector, it says how to turn anyone into your sperm receptacle.
Dude, I just can't. Oh my
So gross.
God. No.
Gross.
The one that got me, it was like, no pussy has 9 lives or something like that. I was just like, dear God. Like,
So funny.
I have, like, if I walked into a room and that was going on, I'd be like, all of y'all, no respect in any way. Gosh.
There are two honest things that his character, Tom Cruise's character, said in this movie. One of them was at the very end when his dad was dying, and he's like, "I hate you, don't leave me. I hate you, don't leave me." And then the other one before it was when the interview lady was in there, and he goes, "You're not safe in here." And then he like walks her into the other room. I was like, that is the most honest thing that he could say to her right now.
That's, you know what? I'm gonna give props to this movie for that moment, because that was like, oh, wow. Like, yeah, that made me do a double take when he said that.
I like when he tells Philip Seymour Hoffman, he's like, if those dogs come up to me, I'm gonna drop kick the shit out of those dogs. He's just like the worst human ever.
It's so weird because it's like, okay, like his whole character is like just like pumping all this hype into these guys, and like, just I can't say it. Anyways, but no, he's just like saying all this stuff to them, and then there's moments where you're like, wow, he's a really honest guy right now.
My slimiest scene, if it's not Tom Cruise, that crying scene, I think it's the introduction to Frank T.J. Mackey. So Philip Seymour Hoffman's, he's sitting there with the dying old man. He finds out that his son is this guy. And then you hear the Zathura Speaks, the 2001 Space Odyssey bit starts playing. Yeah. And then we see Tom Cruise standing there like he's a savior, and the light illuminates him. We see this outrageous creature just gets so funny. And then when he just like jumps in front of the camera, it's just like such a perfect way to introduce this piece of garbage human being. I love that one. Yeah, the rating is tough, man. Like I said, like I thought it was a 2, and then it went to a 4, and now it's up. Then I was like, is this a 5? And I'm so confused. I think where I'm gonna fall on it is it's a 4. I understand everything you guys are saying. I may never watch this again, but I can't discount. Like I'm a huge PTA fan. I thought Tom Cruise's performance was incredible. We talked about Philip Seymour Hoffman. There are some really awesome themes that are shared between certain characters of the movie. But like we said, it's flawed. It's way too long. 190 F words, which I don't mind, like 150, but like, like it's just it's too excessive. It when you guys were talking about, you said something about like filming yourself jerking.
Yeah.
This is I've heard someone else say this, but this movie is like PTA kind of just smelling his own farts. Like I think this is what he was doing. He was huffing a little too much of his methane gas, and he was feeling himself. Like he was going for it with full rein on this project, and I think he just overdid it. And I stated my case earlier, but I think it led him to becoming a truly great director later on with his other work. Don't let this movie deter you from his other movies. Like I said, I just watched Punch Drunk Love with Adam Sandler, who's like actually acting, and it's an actually good movie. That's really cool. But yeah, that's where I'm going to land. I think a 4, and I won't be surprised if it goes to 4.5. But it's going to be a few more years till I watch this again. And that's where I stand on this one.
Love it, man. Standing on the top.
Yeah, it was a challenging watch that actually did redeem itself slightly.
It's not often that I feel like offended while watching a movie, but this is one of the few times where I was like, am I really going to have to watch all 3 hours of this?
Totally.
Dude,
totally.
I had the same feeling. I was just like, yeah, when it hit like the 2 hour mark, I was like, are you serious? I have to. Okay.
When they did the like combined music video scene and everyone's singing the same song, I was like, how much longer is this movie gonna be?
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I hope everyone who listened to this episode who hated Magnolia as much as we did is just so excited and having a good time. So,
and I hope all the people that loved it as much as Ren did also had a good time.
Amen. Amen.
Did I love it? I can't tell if I loved it.
Let's jump into this random drawing. I want to know what's going on with the rest of my next month. I'm excited.
Yes, same.
So we're going to jump into our random drawing. The theme that was chosen was 90's cool kids. Scott, I want you to tell me why you picked this theme. I want to tell you what my problems. I want to tell you what my problems are with this theme.
Well, so this is really an excuse to put Terminator 2 and Small Soldiers on a list.
Nice.
I wanted to watch Terminator 2. I haven't seen it since I was a little kid, and I'm fully ready for it to not be as good as I remember, but I'm also excited to see if it's as good as I remember. I really like Terminator 2, okay? I don't love Terminator 1 or basically any other Terminator. They're fine, but Terminator 2, formative. I like it. I like formative movies. Similarly with Small Soldiers, I watched it once when it was newish, and I just wanted a reason to watch it again. And then as I was thinking about just that's such a super iconic time that like that latchkey kid, foster kid, like trope, it doesn't exist anymore. And I thought, well, that's kind of an interesting, like not deep dive level of interesting, but I'm sure there could be interesting movies that come from it. And turns out there's not a ton of really great movies that have 90s cool kids in them. But hey, we're going to see what we get out of here. And it's certainly not a dark theme. So we're not going to have a really depressing month like we had the past two. The past two were really pretty hard.
Yeah. Okay, so here's my main problem with this theme that you picked. Is I'm down for the 90s. I'm down for movies about kids, but finding 90s cool kids is really hard. I looked at so many movies, and me and Nicole were talking back and forth, and we kept coming to movies and we're like, okay, what about Indian in the Cupboard? And we were both thinking about it, we're like, he's not cool. He's just not
cool at all.
And then we would get to movies like Big Green and Heavyweights and all these stories about kids, and you're just and I was realizing, I was like, wow, there are so many movies in the 90s that are family friendly. It's all about the rejects. That's what the whole movie is about. There's not popular kids in these films. And I just thought that was a really interesting theme that I saw throughout, just looking at the history of the 90s and what movies were coming out at that time. And so it was really hard for me to find movies where I was like, okay, this one actually has a cool kid in it. I can put it on my list.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how we end up stretching this theme, because you could be like, oh, Hocus Pocus, Cat isn't a cool kid, but there is a cool kid at the school, but he's a jerk or she's a jerk. So is that the cool kid that makes the movie get picked?
Well, so I mentioned this before, that Free Willy is a formative movie for my wife. It just changed her whole world. And she kept suggesting it. And I was like, honey, can you honestly tell me that the main kid in that movie is a cool kid? And she's like, no, he's not cool. It's it has to be a cool kid.
So I only know this because I watched Indian in the Cupboard fairly recently, but that would count because he does have an older brother who is legitimately cool. So this is how we're going to stretch this category, I think.
You know what? I'm going to say this. I feel better now because I put Indian in the Cupboard on my list, and I was like, screw it, I don't care. So now I'm justified. Yes.
I think because I posted my list first, I think that my list is the complete list of every cool kid in the 90s. So your guys are just going to have to stretch to make it work.
Yeah. No, I legit had 3 of your suggestions on my list, and then you posted it and I was like, damn it. You just sniped them all.
I must have missed your list. So this is all new for me. I'm excited to see what you guys put on your list. Let's go.
All right, Harrison. It was my category, so I think I'm going to drop my 5 first. So I've got Hook, because Rufio is genuinely one of the coolest people in existence.
Amen.
Dante Basco.
Yeah.
What a man.
Didn't age. It's he basically looks like that his whole life.
Yep.
Terminator 2, because little punk John Connor is 10 years old and can hack ATMs. The Iron Giant. Yep. I'm going to be very candid. I've never seen The Iron Giant. And I want to.
Good.
So the thing is this. Hogarth is not cool. He's not a cool kid, but I'm okay with this movie because it's that good of a movie.
Small Soldiers, because I just really wanted to watch Small Soldiers, and all of the kids that are there at home with their absent parents because it's a 90s movie. Some of them are cool. right?
yeah.
Like the older sister, she's cool, right? Question mark,
Yeah.
question mark, question mark.
Well, I think one of the kids has a really cool cowlick.
Nice.
So yeah,
There you go.
Pretty.
And then the last one is like Shut Up, Fight Me is Last Action Hero. I don't know if you've ever heard of this movie. It's a Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Oh my
Man.
god.
And the main kid pretends to be cool, but he's 10 and you can't be cool when you're 10.
I love
really
it.
hard to do.
This
Sweet.
movie is not good if it gets picked. I'm just going to say it's not good, but I love it anyway. So it's one of those movies. It's from the 90s. You'll like it, but it's dumb.
Right. I'll go through mine. My
Okay.
list is not nearly as good as your guys's, by the way. So if you don't want to vote for any of mine, I 100% understand, because I it's kind of weird how hard it was for me to make this list. Okay, I'm gonna go. My first one up is Sandlot. It's not set in the 90s, but it was filmed in the 90s, and there's definitely
Yeah.
a cool kid in it. And we've talked about it
Freak,
enough
yes.
that I was like, you know what,
Benny.
we could put that on our list.
Benny.
My next one is Clueless, which is very high school, clicky and stuff like that. But I've heard it's kind of like this cult classic film, and there's definitely cool kids in it. My next one's Indian in the Cupboard, which is a movie I remember watching a lot. I weirdly remember watching it and really connecting with the main kid and being like, "Whoa, that's me." Ren gets that.
Red's like, oh, that kid's like my little brother. I connect with the
my
older brother.
That's so funny. Yeah.
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 Gosh.
Pretty much.
My next one is Varsity Blues. I've heard some good things about it. I know James Vanderdeen is in it, and he just passed away recently. So I was like, what?
Vanderbeek.
Vanderbeek. Sorry. Vanderbeek. He's in it. He just passed away recently, and I was like, you know what? I've heard good things about this too, and Nicole really likes the film too, so she suggested it. This is like half of a wife's pick list, by the way. And then my last one is going to be 10 Things I Hate About You, which I don't know if you guys are excited to watch films like this, but I secretly really, really love this movie. And it's got a really, really young Heath Ledger in it, and it's just mind blowing to me. But yeah, I watched this not too long ago, and I was like mind blown how much fun I had watching it. So not a lot of hard hits like you got, Scott, but I think I got some good ones in here.
And then I think, Ren, your list stretches the concept as hard as we can go. But hey, we need a real movie in here. So Ren, you can take us into the real movie category.
Well, I feel like I can explain it. It's okay. My first film on my list is Point Break, 1991. Yes. And it's on the list because Patrick Swayze is cool as hell, and Keanu Reeves is super cool looking on the cover. So that's why it made the list. Second one is True Romance, 1993, written by Quentin Tarantino, directed by Tony Scott. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and there's a line in it that will make sense for it to go on the list. I won't go into it now. 3, The Big Lebowski. This is mostly on the list because the dude is cool, and I remember like cool kids always quoted this movie, and I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. So yeah, stretching.
I mean, that's a pretty good stretch. I'm because it's The Big Lebowski. I'm cool with it.
Yeah. And then 4 is Pump Up the Volume, starring Christian Slater. I just found it on like a 90s cool kids list, and someone described it as Network, but for millennials. And I was like, that sounds good to me. I want to watch that.
I'm down.
And then my 5th one is High Fidelity, which came out in the year 2000, but the movie takes place in a 90s record store. And there's just a bunch, I haven't seen it in a long time, but there's a ton of like music references, and it's Jack Black. It'll be a fun watch.
Does that have Joan Cusack in it too?
John Cusack, yeah.
John Cusack, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Oh,
I think I remember now.
I'm super vague. Why do I have memories of this movie? I don't think I've watched it. That's weird.
Yeah. It's a fun watch, if I remember correctly. But yeah, he's just like a hopeful romantic, and he's into records, so I like that. But yeah, there's my 5.
Sweet. Sounds good. All right, we ready?
Harrison,
I'm ready.
determine the next month of my life.
All right, your fate is in my hands. Here we go. We're going to go with Scott's list first. We're watching Small Soldiers. That's the first one on our list from Scott's list.
All right.
Super
Sweet.
hyped for that, actually. That's pretty sweet.
This
Okay.
is already going to be such a bad month. I love it.
All right, we're gonna go with my list. Okay, it's gonna be a good month. We're watching Sandlot as my pick.
Nice.
How is this happening?
We're finally gonna talk about this movie that we've mentioned 400 times.
Yeah.
Sandlot makes me cry, and I don't know why. So it's going to be good.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
It's because
No,
the game of baseball.
I blame Sandlot for all of my problems as a father, being like, oh, my kid needs to go out and ride his bike more. That's all I think about is Sandlot. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's go for Ren's list right now. We're watching Point Break. It's gonna be our
Dude.
third movie for our 90s
Freak,
cool
I'm
kids.
really excited about.
Oh.
I haven't watched Point Break, but it's been on my list for a long time. So
Same.
this
Dude.
is pretty cool.
I'm hyped for this. Okay. That's 3 solid films. I'm feeling pretty good
Okay.
about this.
So I'm just gonna float it out there. We've also talked about Hook a number of times. Do we want to just like executive decide to throw Rufio in there?
I mean, that was gonna be one of my votes for sure.
Okay. Let's keep the vote, but
Okay.
yeah.
We'll
Okay,
do it.
So
Okay.
right now I'm gonna one vote for Hook, one vote for True Romance.
Okay, so I'm also gonna put one down for Hook. And I think I could actually pick one from my list this time. I'm gonna go with Indian in the Cupboard. That's gonna be my vote from my list.
Okay. Hook and Big Lebowski.
All right, we got 3 votes in for Hook, 1 for Big Lebowski, 1 for Indian in the Cupboard, 1 for True Romance, and we are going to be watching. We're watching Hook. It's going to be our fourth
Yes.
film. Dude.
Nice.
What a lineup. What a
Okay.
lineup.
Okay. So Point Break, Hook, Sandlot, Small Soldiers. 1998. Dude, what a time.
I don't know what it is. This list feels so like boys of the 90s.
Like 90s
don't
cool
know.
kids. Yeah.
This is like the most like dude list of the 90s ever.
I guess it's weird. They're probably not going to be like our best episodes just because the movies
How
aren't
dare
as
you.
deep.
How
But at the
dare
same
you?
time, I'm like kind of relieved to just not dread watching the movies.
I get that. No, dude, these are gonna be awesome episodes. We're gonna find some really cool stuff about them. It's gonna be good.
I embrace it all. I love it.
It's good.
And even if we did a movie about, or an episode about Elephant Ghost, or whatever the hell that movie was called.
That's a wrap on another episode of Cinema Slime. Be sure to watch the next film before next Wednesday. We had a blast and hope you enjoyed it. This episode was a production by your hosts, Harrison Jensen, Ren Jensen, and Scott Shepard. This is a group effort, and seriously, thank you. Thank you for listening and watching us however you found us. We really appreciate it. Help us grow by leaving a comment, a 5-star review, subscribe, and share an episode with another cinema lover. Also, let's connect. Find us on Discord and Letterboxd for film discussions, reviews, and recommendations. Also, check us out on social media. We're always posting clips, film rabbit holes we're going down, and interesting stuff. And you can also show your support by using Buy Me a Coffee, and we'll give you a shout out if you'd like. All links can be found in the episode notes. Goodbye.